And thank you for tuning in to the Grade 8 Outdoor Ed parent presentation. We are running this presentation online instead of a face-to-face meeting, as we know parents are looking for more time-effective ways of getting access to this information. So where can I find information about this camp? It's coming up so quickly. There are three key places. This presentation, there's a WolfNet group page with lots of information on it, and I'll direct you to that at the end of the presentation. And then thirdly, if you've got further questions, please email us or contact us by phone. Our emails are on the title slide there. So let's quickly dispel the myths. This is a grade 8, grade-wide program. It's compulsory for all students, and so we're aiming to have a program that exposes students to new challenges without exposing them to significant risks. We look for a physical challenge, but also social and emotional challenges for the students. And we really think we've struck a good balance with this program. So we're running programs that are in reach of every single student, and each year students get more and more choice in the senior school about what that program looks like for them. And so we do climbing on this program, but as you can see in the image there, it's not quite as extreme as sometimes we might perceive it from back here in Vancouver. Why is it compulsory? We believe there's so much that can be learnt from these experiences: personal, interpersonal, environmental knowledge, and we also cover some of the art, the science, and the social studies curriculum while we're out there too. So for this program in particular, grade 8, it's happening this Wednesday the 26th to Friday the 28th of April, and students are leaving the lower lot of 4th Ave on Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Please bring lunch on that first day. We aren't supplying the lunch on day one, but we will be supplying all other food and all other snacks after that point. Great thing is we'll be back on Friday for the end of normal school day, so students can be dismissed as they normally would when the bell goes. We're heading up to Evans Lake, and Evans Lake is about an hour and a half if you look at that image on the left. An hour and a half. It's just near Squamish. It's got relatively easy road access, and it's a stone's throw from Squamish. So nice, easy access for a grade 8 program. There are two sites that we use at Evans Lake. Here at the Evans Lake camp, there's a full summer camp, cabins, the whole lot, dining hall, running water, everything. And so students will spend one night at that site. And we also use another site that's about a 5-kilometre hike at Levitt Lake, where there are no facilities. And so we run a one-night camp at that site there. And the itinerary, I guess a sample itinerary, is that there are two different groups. Group 1 will head up to Evans Lake on Wednesday, and then they'll immediately hike out to Levitt Lake, that second location, where they'll get there. They'll be met by their duffel bag and their tents and the food for the night. And then they'll spend the afternoon and the evening setting up camp, putting together tents, their 3 or 4 person tents that they'll be staying in, building a fire, cooking some dinner or assisting in the cooking. And then Thursday they'll hike back down to Evans Lake, where they'll arrive back at the main cabins and dining hall at lunchtime. In the afternoon they'll have 3 activities that will be run. It might be climbing, canoeing, geocaching, or a science-based ecology activity. And then after that they'll have dinner in the dining hall, stay in the cabins for a big sleepover. On Friday morning they have that 4th activity, and then after lunch we head back to Vancouver. If your student, or if your son or daughter is not doing that exact rotation, they'll be doing something very similar, just in a different order. And that's the basic essence of the camp. So one night in tents, one night in cabins. And I'll go through those, what that looks like in a little bit more detail now. So at Levitt Lake, that second site, students will be tenting. They'll be in tents of 3 to 4 people, and it means they need their own sleeping bag and sleeping pad. We supply the tents, we supply the cooking equipment, but not the actual sleeping equipment. If you're really short and you can't find it, we do have some available for borrowing or renting, but please ask your friends or family, or all these students have been through this process, so many of them have access to sleeping bags and sleeping pads from prior years. At Levitt Lake, students will be assisting in the cooking. They'll be having like cheese and crackers and pasta and sauce and some dessert, and for breakfast they'll have oatmeal, and then they'll head off back towards Evans Lake to the main facilities. At this site, Levitt Lake, there is no running water. We bring in our own drinking water. We use hand washing water from the lake and sanitizer. It means the bathrooms don't have running water, so they have the outhouses. That's our more remote experience for these students. And often turns out to be their favourite or a really great experience for them. Now, when they come back to Evans Lake, to the actual forest centre, the main lodge, they'll be sleeping in cabins where there's bunk beds and there's a maximum of 12 students in each cabin. Those bunks have mattresses, but they do not have sheets, pillows, or sleeping bags. So students are encouraged to use their sleeping bag and their pillow while they're in the cabins. Evans Lake, just like we can accommodate dietary needs, and we just need to make sure that we're aware of those as early as possible. I know many of you have already filled in the dietary form. At Evans Lake, there are those 4 activities. We'll be doing a reflective activity, an art-related activity to finish, where all students will be doing it. Otherwise, they'll be doing a mix of those different things of climbing, of canoeing, geocaching, and a science-based water activity. So lots of variation, lots of fun, lots of games, and plenty to learn as well. Now, a quick heads up, the Duke of Edinburgh program is a program that many of our students choose to undertake. And we find that at WPGA, most students are doing most things naturally, and this is just a case of documenting many of the things that they already do. But one area that they don't necessarily complete the skills on their own is this expedition. And the school outdoor ed program is a really neat way of addressing that criteria, which enables students to get their bronze awards, silver or gold awards. Check out, go and chat with Mr. Pike if you're interested in more info on that. A very prestigious award for sure. So a quick couple of reminders. There is a student meeting happening in advisory in the lead up to camp, and they have been communicated those dates. Please check in on WolfNet. That's going to be such a good epicenter of information. And when packing bags, we really encourage your son or daughter to be involved in that packing. Otherwise, they get to camp not knowing what they have. And many times it's been raining and students didn't know they actually had a raincoat. So there are definitely risks that go hand in hand with any outdoor and adventure experience. We do feel like we manage those risks really quite effectively with great supervision, experienced staff, but then naturally there are risks. Some of the main ones that we see are in the transportation, the weather. Obviously, each activity has its own set of risks, but they're very closely monitored and carefully run. And there is the unknown of animals or wildlife as a risk too. However, we carry bear spray, and we find typically from the past the most scary encounters that we have are with mice. When students take food into tents or into their sleeping bags, and the mice come and join them in those places. So that's a good reminder for your son or daughter. Now, where can I find more information? Mr. Johnson, you've been speaking so fast. I'm really bored. Okay, go to WolfNet. This will be your key place for information. If you go to the Groups tab first, and then if you look down the Groups tab, you won't see all of these things, but you will see Outdoor Education 8. And once you click on that, you can explore around looking for a bunch of different information, the packing lists, links, etc. So please check that out. Are there any other things that we need to know? Well, absolutely. There's just two things for parents to do, and that's the WolfNet consent form and the medical form. Both are available on WolfNet and accessible through the parent account. Students also have a few things to do. We really suggest packing early, request gear if they need it, and don't forget lunch for Wednesday. So thank you for listening. You've made it. Enjoy your quiet days at home, and do please look at WolfNet and then contact us with further questions. Enjoy your few days of quiet time at home. Thanks a lot.